Hey guys, this is Keith from electroVolt. Today I thought we'd take a little bit of time just to talk about some of the advantages of lithium batteries. We get a lot of questions about why would I switch to lithium, what are some of the advantages, and we were also going to debunk a few myths that seem to come up over and over again when we talk about lithium batteries. So if you look at any of these guys, you're going to notice a couple things. The overall voltage and the amp hour or capacity size is going to be clearly listed on all these batteries, from the 7 amp hour to the 10 to the 20 on up to the big boy here at 200 amp hours. That's going to be talking about how many amp hours or how much capacity the battery has. 12.8 is going to be the nominal voltage that is the middle of the road for how much voltage the battery has. At the very bottom is going to be 8, and at the very top is going to be 14.6. So that's going to give you a little bit about what you're looking at when you're looking at the faceplate of some of these batteries. When it comes to lithium and its advantages, one of the biggest things you're going to notice, if you start reviewing the numbers between sealed lead acid and lithium, you're going to find that in general it takes 2 times the sealed lead acid battery to meet the capacity of a lithium battery. Well, why is that? It's really just an advantage of the chemistry. These are built with lithium iron phosphate, which is a chemistry that is superior in its energy density. It's able to hold and deliver much more energy than the equivalent sealed lead acid battery. So another advantage, which makes lithium far superior to legacy sealed lead acid batteries, is something we call the discharge curve. So if we talk about the way that a battery moves from its top of state of charge, which is a fully charged state, to the bottom when it's empty, if we look at that graph, if you can picture a graph, a sealed lead acid battery starts at the top and it pulls down at a 45-degree angle very, very quickly. So basically, if you cut that graph in half, we don't have that much usable capacity throughout it. When you look at the way a lithium battery discharges, it's a very flat discharge curve. It starts to discharge, then it runs flat, flat, flat all the way across, and then it tanks off right at the very end. What that does for us is it gives us a higher voltage across the entire discharge rate, which allows sensitive electronics and larger appliances especially to be able to run for a much longer amount of time. With a sealed lead acid battery, a lot of times about halfway through the discharge curve on a sealed lead acid, some pieces of equipment will actually start to turn off because it can't absorb the amount of load that the appliance is trying to pull. So that makes lithium an extremely viable option for scenarios in RVing, trolling motors, or any other sensitive electronics for that matter. A couple other myths that you're going to see out there. There is technically no such thing as a drop-in sealed lead acid replacement battery. These batteries are made with a different chemistry than a sealed lead acid battery. The way that they're charged is different. So when you go to charge any of the lithium iron phosphate batteries out on the market, you want to make sure that you use a dedicated lithium iron phosphate charger. The 2 parameters that we really want to control when it comes to taking care of our iron phosphate batteries is how much voltage and how much amps that we push against this battery. Seems complex, but I promise you it's not. When it comes to the voltage that a sealed lead acid battery takes, it's going to be charged at about 13.8 volts, either coming out of a charger or coming off an alternator. But then what happens is the amount of amps, or the amount of juice that's being pushed at it, can be extremely high and actually could damage either your system or it could potentially damage the batteries. So when we use a specific lithium iron phosphate charger, such as this EVC 2425 in this instance, we basically are able to regulate the voltage and the amp rates to make sure that we're providing the batteries the proper amount of voltage and the right amount of amps that meets the size of battery that we're using in our system. There's a lot of things out there that make the cost of ownership significantly less with lithium. If you're looking at a sealed lead acid battery, in general, if you take care of them and you're charging them properly, we expect to get somewhere around 300 cycles out of that battery. In the situation of a lithium iron phosphate battery, the LiONCore batteries, these guys have a 12-year warranty. We expect that you're going to see somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 to 4,000 cycles out of a lithium iron phosphate battery. So if you do the math and you look at the cost of ownership of a lithium battery per each cycle life compared to your sealed lead acid battery that you may have to swap out every 2 or 3 years, it's a significantly better investment to go ahead and buy a lithium battery up front and go ahead and get the longer life cycle that you're going to get in compared to your sealed lead acid. So just a couple of the many reasons why you may want to really look closely at your use case scenario and really make that determination on if you should just go ahead and make the investment and get a lithium battery. So if you want to find out more, you can go ahead and hit us up on social media. Go ahead and go to electrovolt.com. We've got a bunch more information there where you can learn a little bit more about lithium batteries and the differences between sealed lead acid. Or if you have a question or a specific use case scenario that you want to talk about, go ahead and give one of our technicians a call. They'd be more than happy to talk to you, explain the advantages of lithium, and help talk through your specific use case scenario. Thank you.